Now, if you need anything, there are timestamps in the description. If you need to go to a specific floor really quickly, just go look in there. Now, before anything, just a quick little recap on what Tower of Despair even is. Tower of Despair is a sort of dungeon that doesn't use fatigue points and has 100 floors filled with tough APCs. You can't use items, some skills have starting cooldowns, and you're limited to 3 life tokens each attempt. Every time you use a life token, whoever you're fighting gets their health completely recovered. However, if they're dead, they won't revive. You can only do 1 floor a day, although if you have a Neo contract, it gives you an item that lets you access another floor, so you can do 2 floors a day, reducing your 100 days of Tower of Despair to 50, as long as you have the Neo contract for it. The catch is you have to have already completed a floor that day. If you failed that day, the item won't let you get a retry. There's also another item called Simona Certificate, which automatically clears a floor for you on that day, whatever floor you're up to. The thing is, if you clear the floor using this method, you won't get the title of the reward that the floor is attached to. So if you want to get all the titles in your title book, then you're going to need to do it yourself. And that sucks because some of them are really hard. Although if you really don't care and you want to just pass a floor because you're stuck or you're having a hard time, then by all means use a Simona Certificate. They didn't used to be so common, for free at least, back then, but nowadays with Neopol's generosity they're giving it away more and more at events, so you're bound to come across a few that'll help you out. Now, why would you even bother with Tower of Despair? Well, when you clear all 100 floors you get a Seal of Despair. A Seal of Despair is what you can use to trade with Simona, who's standing right next to the entrance of the Tower of Despair, and you can get epic pots. You can get a tradable or untradeable version. Tradable costs 40 million gold to open, and the untradeable costs 5 million gold to open. Usually what people do is they sell the Seal of Despair itself by asking people which pot they want. You can usually make like a 10 mil profit from this or something. I'm not really sure, I haven't done it myself or looked into it, but that's what people appear to be doing. The reason being is that the pot itself is RNG, meaning you don't know what you're going to get. You might get an epic that you need, or you might get a low-level epic that might not even be worth having. I personally have experienced getting a lightsaber, which I couldn't use, so I ended up disassembling it. Honestly, it's your call what you want to do when you get to the top, but, you know, either way you're making a profit, and why not do it? Now, with all that aside, let's begin the guide. Now note that the footage for most of these is going to be sped up a little bit because just to save time and make everything a little bit more compact. I'm not going to skip any fights or cut anything out. I'm going to do the whole fight just maybe a little bit sped up, but you should be able to see all the information laid out just fine, especially with YouTube's slowdown feature or just rewind or whatever you want to do. So this first fight is Incompetent Benayoun, I believe that's how you say it. He's just a Crusader who has a shield up most of the time. All you have to do is, hit it. Like, it's just a multitude of hits that you have to do, and then you'll finally be able to do damage to him. But until then, it's just 0 damage. He doesn't really try to attack you too much, but he does have the buff that makes lightning rain every time you hit him. So you're going to want to keep moving, especially if you have multi-hitting attacks like I showed with the Electrifying Mirror Ice Wall that the Elementalist has. Honestly, a lot of the fights in Tower of Despair is just patience, especially, when everything is so lethal, and you can only resurrect 3 times, so you have to make the most of what you have. But the first floor is really easy. You should have no problems with it. Now, floor 2 is a little bit more tricky. Village Leader G. He is also a paladin, but for this fight you're going to want to actually stay out of directly in front of him or behind him, because he tends to shoot pressure walls that deal a ludicrous amount of damage. Actually, they honestly instant killed me most of the time. But he doesn't really try to get too much in your face, so if you play footsies with him and zone properly and just stay directly up on top of him or under him in terms of the axis, and don't go in front of him or behind him because he will catch you with his moves. If you have moves that hit around you, you should honestly be more than fine, especially moves like what the Elementalist has where she can aim it directly at a zone from her. There are times where you can abuse like any cooldowns he has and just go for a slight burst of damage, but honestly the key here is patience. A lot of things with Tower of Despair is patience, so as long as you keep moving, play your zoning right, and if you don't know what zoning is, I recommend looking that up as terms of PvP terminology. Honestly, it's not too difficult, but if you do slip up or you get a little bit carried away or antsy, you will get instant killed by any of his pressure walls. And in case you don't know what his pressure wall is, it's the blue wall that he summons up. Just the summoning of it, the startup of it will kill you, just it popping up. And he can actually even summon it at a distance, so be careful. Now, floor 3 can be a little bit tricky. Downfallen Ashil is his name. He is a Spitfire hybrid mechanic, and he's a little bit tricky because every time you hit him directly, he actually has a chance of spawning a grenade, a sleeping grenade, or a mech walker, just out of nowhere, no matter what. So you actually just might get damage back at you or be put to sleep, which puts you at a terrible disadvantage. This fight, you're going to want to keep moving, and if he gets close to you, just try to jump and do a jump attack at him to knock him over and run away again. Honestly, you're just playing patience, and again, this is zoning. The exact zoning that you want to be in is not in front of him because he actually tosses grenades at you normally, which actually is really fast. And if you get really close to him, he simply does jack spike into just regular attacks. But nonetheless, it's a lot of damage. He also does mech drop, and he has a lot of mech walkers that spawn from that. Honestly, it's a really big pain in the butt, and I had to deal with this for actually a few days. You just have to run away from them and just make sure, even if you jump, especially if you floaty jump, they might catch you when you're landing. You're just going to have to run away, and if you have a move that will actually get rid of the mech walkers, like Ice Wall or any, like, sure you can DP type move, you're going to want to use it. Other than that, as long as you stay away from directly in front of him, avoid his mech drop, and when his mech drop actually happens, you're going to want to just make sure you find a way to get rid of the walkers, because him and his walkers closing in on you is a bad combination. Honestly, you're just going to be running around and dealing damage as you stay away from him. But for certain classes it's easier than others. Obviously, Soulbender has it super easy. We go with Ice Saya. Elementalist doesn't have it too easy, but I guess she does because of Ice Wall. It really depends on the class, but there is a way to win this, especially if you're patient, and that's the lesson to take away from all of these floors, really. Floor 4 is also another annoying fight. This is long-haired Motoro, a Wrecking Ball. He'll summon a nuke. I don't really know what the name of the move is. I honestly forgot. He'll summon a nuke and then usually follow up with Ice Flamethrower, which is just a disgusting combination. As you can see, it instant killed me twice. And then once you avoid the nuke, he can't use it for a while. And if he actually misses his Ice Flamethrower, he's committed to the entire duration of this. So that'll be your chance to do as much damage as you can. Again, much like the other previous fights we've been doing, you're going to want to keep moving, keep running. If he gets close to you, jump over him or around him while doing an attack, hopefully to knock him down and even get more space to run away. Other than that, you're just going to have to stay moving, because if you commit to any move, that nuke will come down and will kill you. You cannot risk that. Even if you get him the 1 health bar and he does it, it's not worth it because you're going to have to start that fight all over again. So just play it smart. Take advantage of if he misses the Ice Flamethrower, and keep in mind that he will do that as a follow-up to the nuke. I actually did this floor with both my Elementalist and my Demon Slayer for the purposes of recording all the floors and showing a wider variety of classes. I would love to do more, but I don't have enough time to make as many classes as I want. But I did it. I'm showing you again the same floor we just talked about, but with the Elementalist, because it would seem like that she would have on paper a harder time dealing with this, but as you can see, as long as you keep tossing out moves and playing patient and playing your zoning, really smart, while yes, it's seemingly a bit more difficult, it honestly, in the end, it's still possible. I think it's possible with any class. It's just some classes are a bit easier than others. But if you play patient, and maybe it might take 1 or 2 more days, especially if you're learning it for your class the first time, but as you can see, eventually you do get the hang of it. I'm actually going to apologize on the footage for this one. It came out really laggy and almost unpresentable, so I'm going to try to skim this one through really quickly. This is floor 5, knife wielding, I don't know how to say that. It's a thief, and she usually, her zone of major damage is directly in front of her. She'll dash in and do a lot of physical attacks too that will kill you instantly in one combo. So you actually can't afford to, be in the wrong zone at the wrong time. Other than just spamming the tornado move that doesn't last nearly as long, and doesn't shoot daggers, As long as you just keep running away and, you know, keeping her back with moves because she doesn't have super armor, and avoiding the tornado, honestly, you could be set. If she gets close, just jump over her, knock her down with an attack, and run away again. It's really a similar process to a lot of the APCs. Again, I'm really sorry for the footage on this one, but as you can see, eventually, if you just keep, you know, staying out of her zone and attacking, you'll win eventually. So before I talk about floor 6, I just want to tell you that this floor had me stuck for quite a while. I didn't like it. So here I have some footage of me failing because I have so much of it. And here's why. She has a move where she throws her weapon at you that stuns you. If you're caught directly in her horizontal axis, which is, you know, directly in front of her. This move is so quick and stuns you to the point where she can run in entirely and kill you. And here's actually a clip of me almost beating her to my frustration to see how surprisingly diagonal that move hits, and, you know, can get you. And it was really frustrating, because you can die in one hit, all your health. So now that you know the frustration of that move where she throws a weapon at you, you know, the capability of it, other than that, you just really have to stay away from that move where she's whipping around, the female ranger move. I don't know what it's called. All I did was kept jumping over her and attacking with, I mean, I have a big hitbox on the jumping attack for the female slayer, but I mean, you got to do what you can. Just be careful, because if you're too, like, if you jump too much in front of her, she'll do her move anyways, and it's basically an anti-air. The hitbox will hit you, and if the move itself doesn't kill you, the bleeding afterwards will. This one is super patience, guys. You have no idea how annoying it was for me. Basically, just play it safe, wait for your good cooldowns, and make sure you stay out of the range where she throws her weapon. And if you need to play the cooldown, to get rid of it, bait it by getting close to her horizontal range, so she does throw her weapon, but quickly tuck back in outside so she misses. That's what I was doing for a while, and it was working. But then in this run specifically, as you can see from this footage, I wasn't doing a whole lot of it because I was just sick of it. I was just playing completely patient, and whenever she got close, I jumped, attacked, and just knocked her down and waited for her, you know, waited for my cooldowns for all my good burst moves. And I think, as you can see, it's working, because if she misses, she just does the move anyways, and you get a lot more time. All I can say, guys, is find out which method works for you in terms of baiting her out, and just be patient. Floor 7, Artillery Scout Junon, is a bit of a unique battle. Personally, I didn't really have too much of a hard time with it. But basically, what he does is he spawns bombardments, and it'll let you know on screen how long the bombardment has until it's over. All it really is just raining stuff from the sky. It does not a particularly lethal amount of damage, but it does quite a bit. And you can't attack him during the times of this. So you're just going to have to kind of wait it out. And he's going to be running away from you. There's no zoning to worry about here. He does do the nuke, which will kill you, but that's actually very rare. I only encountered it maybe once or twice in my runs. Honestly, this one is just literally waiting out, and just, you know, but it's actually kind of good, because while you're waiting for his bombardment to end, your cooldowns are getting, you know, you're getting your cooldowns for your skills done, because the cooldowns work in this way, the same way PvPs do, where you don't get all your moves right away. You have starting cooldowns, so you're gonna have to wait for them anyways. So once you see the opportunity, obviously you want to do a burst of attack. Enemy, this APC specifically doesn't have any other unique traits about it. You know, he takes a lot of damage. He has low defense. The only thing that you should really watch out for is a bombardment. At some certain point, he can start raining down like parachute missiles, which actually does a lot more damage than the bombardment. So you might gonna want to watch out for that. I'm not sure what exactly triggers it, if it's an HP thing or what. I only got it once, but that actually makes things a lot more hectic. So honestly, you're gonna, much like before, you're gonna want to keep moving, keep mobile, keep your zones fresh, and like I said, just wait for your cooldowns. And once you you know, see the opportunity, again, it counts down on screen and tells you when the bombardment's going to end. So, you know, just get ready, you know, with your burst of damage. And honestly, this fight didn't take me too many tries. That might just be because the female slayer has good burst, but I don't know. So all I can say is good luck with this one. Just patience and running. That's all it is. This next one I didn't really have a hard time with. This is floor 8, Gandharva Tina. I believe that's how you say it. She'll cast super armor right away, and Apparently, the gimmick here is that whenever you cause direct contact with her with any move, she'll have a small chance of inflicting blind or freeze on you. Or she'll summon a thorn flower at her feet. As you can see, you can't combo her because she has complete super armor. Your best bets are super holds or anything else that breaks super armor. But honestly, all I kept doing, since she's just running at you and there's no other zoning tools that's keeping really like you moving and dodging, I just, other than her super armor skills, I just did damage to her. This really wasn't a very difficult fight, as you can see. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Floor 9 is Gunner Nana. It's a female ranger that does a lot of damage on everything she does. There's no like special gimmick. You just gotta play it like a PvP match against someone who's really mindless. You can combo her. There's obviously a heavy gravity in terms of all your combos. Your combos will be short. But you're just going to want to watch out because her bullets do a lot of damage, and she can break out of a lot of things, even being frozen. She can still slip in like some damage. All I can say is don't get carried away with the fact that this almost feels like a regular PvP fight because her damage is absurd. If she catches you in a combo, you're going to regret being hit. You can play this zoning much like all the other fights you've been doing. Just like if she gets close, you can try jumping over her head and attacking to knock her down and gain more space while waiting for your cooldowns for burst damage. Honestly, that's a viable tactic. I mean, but since there's no special gimmick here like about her, there's no super armor, no dropping stun or sleep grenades on you when you hit her. You can do a bit of damage here and there if you have any super holds. A big point to take advantage of is she does commit to the move where she throws her guns 3 times. And if you catch her facing the wrong way, you can totally just dish out as much damage as you want to her. I don't recommend doing air combos for too long because she breaks out of it sometimes and just hits you with a gun. And honestly, still a lot of damage. But as long as you play it smart, patient, you'll win. No problem. Okay, and now floor 10 is a unique floor for the first 90 floors. Each 10th is unique because it's actually based on a user, and it changes every week. Now, I'm not sure like how exactly this works because obviously I'm fighting a Slayer, but he has a lot of the Slayer subclass moves. Now, all I can say is this fight, considering all that considered, this fight was actually super hard. Because you can't do the typical jump over him, if he gets close tactic, because he actually has a lot of anti-airs, like Tombstone and the Berserker move. All I can say is, wow, like, you just gotta play patient, and if you're gonna bait him, bait him. Honestly, I think in the footage you're seeing here, I got lucky. I just kept waiting for my burst move to show up, and it just did it. The damage is still very high, the defense is low on the APC, but very high damage and very annoying. Since it changes so much, I can't really say anything more about the 10th floor and any other 10th floor. Following. If this Slayer is the same as any other Slayer APC that gets picked, then maybe this advice still applies. Don't get caught in his anti-airs and don't get too close to him. Other than that, all I can say is just good luck. Because I don't know a whole lot about these yet. If anybody want to tell me more about it, feel free to fill me in. King Rumen's Rai didn't really give me too much trouble. She had a lot of strong super armor and damage on her melee attacks, but her main thing is throwing kunai, which she has absolutely almost no cooldown on, and every single projectile she throws has a chance of freezing, and she can even throw them out while being stunned, frozen, or any other such ailments, which you're about to see here as I zoom in on it. She's frozen and being stunned from Arcane Sword Blast, and she still managed to shoot kunai in a very unique style. She's supposed to have an ice trail that follows her, kind of like the sub-boss in King's Ruin, but that didn't really happen to me on my run. That's what it said on the DFO wiki, so maybe either it doesn't work, or maybe they got rid of it. Either way, she really isn't too hard. Just take her out. She's pretty light, too, so... Curran, age 30, is actually quite a formidable foe. Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat. I apologize for the footage on this one. I think Fraps was lagging, or it was a bad day for my computer. I'm sorry, this is going to happen only a handful of times during this entire tutorial. Really, I don't know why Fraps is... I changed Fraps, I'm sorry. But, anyways, so Curran has full super armor, and he will react upon getting hit sometimes by shooting out projectiles from himself, often the boomerang ones that fly back and forth. So just steer clear from that. Often go up or down. He isn't a very aggressive APC as far as his AI goes, so it's really easy to avoid his projectiles and kind of avoid him in general. Again, he has full super armor, so the only way I was able to do damage was by grabbing him. A lot of classes have grabs, so he also will shoot out bombs in a straight line of 7 with oil attached to them, so that's obviously an explosion for big damage. He also shoots them in a plus pattern, but you should be able to predict these or read these pretty well and react to them. He also gets up from the floor with the shout move that all Asuras have, so be sure to steer clear of that whenever he's getting up from the floor. And, I mean, there's no time limit, so just grab and do as much damage as you can upon each grab and stay away from him when he's waking up. That's all there is to it. Dark Elf Woodsman Toronto on floor 13 doesn't have a special gimmick to it. It's just a really, really, really strong physical exorcist who's going to use his really good skills to stuff your face full of a lot of damage. It's going to hurt. In fact, I died quite a few times in this fight. I can't show you the ending to this fight because, unfortunately, I guess this was just the really bad week of fraps, which is before I decided to change it later on. That's just why the footage after these floors are way better. The ending of the video it was freezing a lot. You couldn't make out what I did. But basically, all I can say and all you can see right now, while the footage isn't screwing up, is that you just have to play footsies with him, be careful, jump over him, knock him down as much as you can. He doesn't have that super armor while moving. He's decently fast, but other than that, just treat him like normal, but just note that he does a lot of damage, so just be careful and don't overcommit. Floor 14 belongs to Giannis, maker of indigestion medicine. That is a very strange name. This was a very easy floor. Basically, she has one of 2 spells that she uses. One that covers the floor, a portion of the floor in poison, which doesn't really do that much poison damage, to me at least. And then one that makes the room dark, which is a pretty cool gimmick, but unfortunately she doesn't really do much while hiding in the dark. When you get close to her, all she'll do is Sky Assault, which is her uppercut, and then the Dragon Fang, which is a poke, I believe, from the Battle Mage. And if you hit her, she'll use Phase Shift whenever she can with no special cooldown time. Maybe a little bit faster. So just be ready to bait whenever she Phase Shifts, and plan your attack accordingly. Honestly, I just stuffed the poison after I realized how little of a threat she was. And that's it. She has low defense, just knock her out. This floor is pretty much a freebie. So strap yourselves in because floor 15 is quite a doozy. This is a 3-part floor. Like there's 3 rooms and 3 sets of sub-bosses. The first one is actually 2, Sam Zag and Lee Danga. These names are getting weirder. Basically, they're not really too difficult, but they can do a lot of damage if they gang up on you. So try to keep them on one side of you and hit them both with your best AoE moves. As you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to get them in the right position, and they are somewhat light, and they're definitely comboable. You can't combo them forever like you could in some regular mobs, which I didn't realize and I got punished for it, but you can combo them for quite a while. So once you feel comfortable, honestly, this first part should be a breeze. Don't go too crazy on your resources. Let the time that's passing by add up to your good cooldowns. And keep in mind that even if you're doing really bad, specifically on this part because of the fact there's 2 of them, something that you should know about Tower of Despair is once you kill somebody, they don't come back if you use a life token. Sure, like people who are still alive get full health again, but people who have already died don't. They can't come back to life. So if you're having trouble, as long as you can take one of them out, and you want to use another life token, you can do that. Also, don't forget that you can actually wait in these rooms as long as you want to recover HP and MP. Part 2 of the area is where you might start having a problem. Water Demon Ojung likes to shoot the net that the brawler has and do suplex right after, which results in some deadly damage if she gets a hold of you. All the meanwhile, she shoots tiny whirlpools that follow the player across the room and will, lift you up when you get hit by it, interrupting anything you're doing and doing a decent amount of damage. It's really annoying. And she can have up to 2 at once that follow you. So you really just have to keep moving, keep circling her, keep her trying to follow you, and just try to use as much armor breaking and super armor breaking moves as possible, which is grabs. All you need for that, honestly, is just patience, and that's really it. The third part is and I'm really, really sorry for the footage on this one once again. I can't believe this. Stone Monkey Ogong, who is a battle mage that starts out with Mana Shield, and if you try to dispel it, it will be recasted immediately. Her gimmick is that she'll summon 2 clones that kind of like move towards you and use Punto Wave, which obviously has super armor and it does a decent amount of damage. Fortunately, her HP is low and her defense is low, and she's decently comboable. But it's also just another fight that you're going to have to keep moving. So just as long as you just keep mobile and like waiting for all your good cooldowns, grab her a bunch because she seemed to have a lot of super armor. Honestly, it's just another fight that you're just going to have to play careful. But if you deal enough damage all at once, honestly, you can be done with it just like that. This was definitely one of the more annoying floors, and all I can recommend is remember that there's no time limit. You can AFK to recover HP and MP through in between rooms. That's what I ended up doing, even though it took forever, but it helps out a lot. Power-hungry Mutisha is in the 16th floor, is a male brawler who casts the Nen Ball thing, which go absolutely crazy, and has full super armor throughout a majority of the fight, if not all of it. And in a really aggressive AI, he's going to be constantly trying to run at you, but thankfully he's susceptible to a lot of status ailments like frozen, stun, and everything else like that. So if you have tools like that at your disposal, this will be really great because he doesn't seem to break out of it very easily. Honestly, this is just another fight that you're going to have to just keep moving, and it's just another one of those patience. Wait for your good skills and throw them at him until he dies. Be careful though; he does have Needle Spin, which I believe is the name of that move. If you get like too predictable, honestly, just big tip is just keep moving. Keep moving. He's slow, kinda, so he's not going to be able to really keep up with you. Don't overcommit because obviously he has super armor, so he's going to stuff you with whatever it is you're trying to do to him if you're being too overcommitted. That's really all I can say. Just kind of patience and just hit him. Nothing really too difficult to understand about that. To quote the DFO wiki itself, Glamorous Neil has no special gimmicks. He's just a regular grappler. I mean, if you have problems with grapplers already, then maybe this fight will still be difficult for you. But honestly, he doesn't have super armor. He has, obviously, really good grabs. So when he casts the buff, that I think the buff's called Unstoppable Grab, where his hands glow. Obviously, you're going to want to kind of stay in the air because he doesn't really have an anti-air grab. And just stay out of his radius. So in a sense, I guess you can say you want to keep moving anyways. But you don't really have to respect any of his moves aside from whenever he has that buff on. You can really just wail on him. He's really heavy, so you can't combo him, I guess. So maybe that could be a gimmick in and of itself. But aside from that, this battle should be a freebie. Really not much to say about that. Just look out for Unstoppable Grab, just like you should for any grappler in PvP. Now, aside from him doing Ground Quaker, as you just saw in front of you, to kill me, which does a lot of damage, Floor 18 Shriekwave Soho, I really want to know who's making these up, is not really too gimmicky, nothing really special about him. He's just an average Asura. I mean, he's kind of heavy to combo, but he's still comboable in the slightest, so any knockdown isn't, unrewarded, but aside from Ground Quaker, which he can miss with, he'll just do it whenever it's not on cooldown. There's nothing really much you should know about this fight. Try to do your best combos with what you can. Keep moving if you want. I mean, you don't really have to respect him too much aside from Ground Quaker, which is the move that does the most damage out of his entire arsenal. Aside from that, that's really it. And if you miss his Ground Quaker, then hell, capitalize. That's a free punish, my friend. This fight could be easy, but it's also could be very difficult depending on how you treat the situation. Stinky Folia bleeds poison whenever you hit her, and if you stand on it, you will get poisoned too. She can also use the Awakening move, which puts poison all over the floor, and she can actually do it twice. She also has access to Junk Spin, but that's actually pretty easy to avoid and get out of. All I can say is be really careful because the poison that she leaves behind, or any of her poisonous moves, really actually hurt a lot. So just keep your distance as much as you can. Don't overcommit. Don't get hit by her poison, and just take her out. Every 10th floor changes based on a player in the game, and every class is different. So here's what you can do for any time you run against a gunner. Obviously, she has access to all the gunner skills, or any male gunner or female gunner. Seems like the best range for her is horizontal. So as long as you stay like under her or above her on the axis is like that, you can't really get hurt by her too much, except for the nuke, the giant nuke that the launcher does. You're gonna want to steer clear of that. She does that quite often. Everything she does has extremely high attack power, but she's also very light and doesn't have any super armor to protect her. So just combo away whenever you get the opportunity. Just stay out of her horizontal range. Yet another APC you don't want to let touch you because her damage is crazy. She is a champion, just a regular APC. She will cast Super Armor and Power Fist at the same time. She will try to keep both up. She has Beat Drive on an extremely low cooldown, which is a move where she's kicking a lot. And she will sometimes use a potion that heals 500,000 damage. Honestly, it's not a particularly hard fight as long as you have a lot of skills that keep your distance from her. If you can freeze her, that's also really good if you're a class that has that ability. She's not very easy to combo. In fact, not so much at all. She's extremely heavy. She will not bounce. You could probably get some OTGs in there, but that's it. Other than that, actually just keep away from her. That won't be too hard. Her main source of mobility is the Tatsu move. And just honestly, as long as you play long range, or if you don't have any long range moves, just only strike when you need to. Don't overcommit. Otherwise, she will kill you. She has a lot of damage. That's a fact. So just apply those tactics. Remember, she has super armor, and use your grabs, and that's it. Floor 22 belongs to Fashionable Rach. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. He's actually just a regular male ranger. His skills have really low cooldown and a lot of hits done. So much hits done and so much damage to the fact that if he feels like it, he can kill you in one hit. Windmill especially is spammed, and he likes to kind of stay close to you, but he's really easy to avoid. His only method of closing space in is the sliding attack that all male gunners have. And he will occasionally do a sniping shot that, it very well be a rising shot, I'm not sure, I'm not really too familiar with the gunner moves. But aside from that, he's decently easy to combo. You can't do it too much. Honestly, just whenever you get hit, try your best to either super armor out of it, or just get out of it. Or quick rebound, or do whatever it is to get out of that amazing hit stun, because he will kill you if he feels like it. But his defense is really low and his health isn't that great, so just keep it up and you'll kill him. Again, right off the bat, I'm going to have to apologize for the footage. This is Floor 23, Monk Exorcist Myung-ho. I try with the pronunciation. Honestly, there's no special gimmick here. He just uses White Tiger. That's it. He just runs around using White Tiger, which is a move that like puts circles down, and there's like a ball that travels back and forth in between the circles. Just stay out of the projection of the circles, and honestly, you should be fine. He isn't his AI is kind of aggressive, and he isn't easy to combo, but honestly, as long as you keep flinging skills at him and not overcommitting, you won't die. He does quite a bit of damage. White Tiger does quite a bit of damage, but honestly, there's nothing else, no special rules here. You should be able to take this one free. Floor 24, Agent Amina. I don't know why it's called that when there's actually 3 of these. It's 3 female launchers who use Flame Pillar, and they will try their very best to corner you into the wall. As you can see here in the footage, this is one of the clips where I ended up losing because I kind of got impatient and let them get the best of me. That will happen to you. They will try to corner you into the wall and Flame Pillar you to death, and you will die really quickly when all 3 of those Flame Pillars stack. What you want to do is actually keep them together so that you can kill them in a group. But also keep in mind, as the ongoing rule of Tower Despair is, if you kill somebody, they will not revive when you use a life token. Only people who are still alive will get full health, but if they're dead, they will not revive. So if you waste all your efforts killing only one person and then you die and use a life token, that's fine. You're making progress, because when you get back up, you will have an easier time. All I can say for this is try to keep them together, keep them from separating, and avoid them on their horizontal axis, their left and their right. Stay above or below them. And honestly, just you really got to play patient with this one. Keep running away and use your super armor or your invincible skills as best as you can and as much as you can. Eventually, you will overpower them. Floor 25 is a 4-part room, actually, with 4 bosses to fight. The first one being Maple Logic Star, who will spam the pumpkin move until the point where you really get annoyed with what she's saying. Fire. She also has a familiar that summons meteors around the area, but those are really easy to avoid, and they're kind of, like, you know, spaced out, so you have enough time to not get overwhelmed by it. She also throw out Lava Potion, Lava Potion, which kind of she stays in, especially if she's in like against the wall, and you can't really damage her after a certain point if she decides to stay in there. It's really hard to get her AI out of there unless you have some kind of AoE move or a move that gets her out or does damage to her. Unfortunately, that lava does a lot of damage, and I got impatient. So personally, what I did was I just tanked it, took the damage, and ended up killing her. But I knew I'd be okay because, like I said, as long as you hang out in between rooms of these multi-part rooms, you can recover as much HP and MP as you want. This is the second part of the room, or of the floor, Winter Pine Kubre. Now, I actually have to apologize on my information. I thought there was 4 rooms. Apparently, there was only 3. I guess the DFO wiki was incorrect on this one, because I only have footage of 3 parts. But essentially, this is actually the same deal, the same gimmick, if you will. She will spam a projectile and constantly hit you with it, and she will have Acid Rain up instead of Lava Potion. And there will be a familiar in the room that summons little ice powdery fields and apes to kill you. Now, honestly, these ape enemies aren't really too much of a threat as long as you avoid their boulders by jumping over them. They die really easily, so that shouldn't really be a problem. The way I tried to play it is I tried to play patient, and relying on waiting for my cooldowns of my long-range moves, but even that proved troublesome because the Frosty Heads don't do a particularly great amount of damage, but they do enough to the point where if you keep making mistakes, you're going to be in fatal condition. So honestly, what I did was I just kept waiting for my long-range move cooldowns, because if I try to fight her in the Acid Rain, it's going to be double-edged sword. I will do a lot of damage to her because she does have low HP and low defense, but I won't have enough resources for the next room. So you're just going to kind of have to wait for her to slip up and keep avoiding her moves. She will use phase shift a lot, and that's really annoying, so don't try to have like a big setup where, you know, you can't commit to it fully, because that move will get phase shifted and you won't be able to finish it if it's like a move that requires you to be in place for a long time, like the lightsaber slashing move that Blade Masters have. Honestly, just you're going to have to wait for her to run into the wrong area, slip up somewhere where she's exposed and doesn't have things to protect her, and just keep avoiding her Frosty Heads. They're pretty easy to avoid. Use moves that have super armor, and you honestly should be fine from there. And if you're wondering, she is somewhat comboable, but she still is very heavy, just like most APCs in Tower of Despair. Don't forget, remember, when you beat her, you can wait around in the room and recover as much resources as you want, and save a life token, probably. Can't believe I almost died just there. And finally, the last part of floor 25, Magnolia Rapanpan. Names, really. Anyways, it's a witch, of course, just like all the other ones, that spams giant fly swatter and has reduced cooldown on Gravitas. She will her familiar will also use fly swatter when he or she, whatever, is near the player. All I can say for this one is stay out of that range, that big circle around her, because she's going to be aggressive, unlike the others. She's the complete opposite. You're going to have to stay away from her when she condescendingly walks up to you, and stay away from her familiar as best as you can, and just like the other ones, use your long-range moves to stay out of their attack range, but also hit them. They have low HP, low defense. It's going to be an easy fight as far as that goes, but just keep in mind that if you die, you're going to have to go back and do all those parts. So I hope you are recovering HP and MP as best as you can, and also you'll be also getting your cooldowns for your best skills out of the way, so you can save that for, you know, when things get really tricky. If you keep up that tactic, you know, which is the ultimate showcase of patience, this floor can actually be really easy, depending on how you approach it.